Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Correct. Okay, you ready to get in some of the headlines for today?
Yep, let's get it.
Okay, let's get it. Okay, so let's start with our first headline, and that is the Buffalo Bills humble the Dallas Cowboys. Rough if you're a Cowboys fan right now, huh?
Absolutely.
Okay, what
Stephen A's gonna clown him today.
you know it. Thoughts on the game?
Jan, I thought this was gonna be a good game.
Yeah, I know.
This was so like I went to bed. I'm not even gonna lie. I took a nap with my son. I was like, oh. Then I saw the score. I was like, oh, it's 31-3.
Yeah.
Man, but this is a good win for Dallas or for Buffalo. You know, they needed it. They were 11th seed. They're heading on the right track. They're getting back into the playoff spot right before the end of the season, so it's good for Buffalo. Dallas looks like they're frauds, man. You know, they had a great win last week against Philly, blew Philly out the waters. We were just talking about this last week, Ryan. We were like, man, is Dallas serious this year? And then boom, they go back to the old good old Cowboys we're used to seeing every year around this time. So, man, it's rough to be a Cowboys fan right now. I know you guys are hurting. It's terrible.
Correct. And you know what's interesting? If I asked you, how many times do you think that Josh Allen threw the ball winning 31-10 against the Cowboys?
If I didn't watch the game,
yeah,
even though I fell asleep,
yeah,
I would say he had a really great game, like 450 yards. He threw like 50 times. You know what I'm saying? But it was all James Cook.
Yeah, it was James Cook. That is what the Bills have needed for so many years, is a running back who could take some pressure, or a running game, I should say, that could take some pressure off of Josh Allen. And
Absolutely.
I think they found that in James Cook, and whatever they're doing is working.
Mm-hmm.
I really like what the Buffalo Bill, I shouldn't like what the Buffalo Bills looked like, but I do. I like what the Buffalo Bills looked like last night. And I just think if they get into the playoffs, no team is going to want to play them in the AFC. It's just how good they can be at times.
Yeah, we were saying Denver last week is the scariest team you don't want to play in the wild card or the playoffs. It might be Buffalo. We slept on Buffalo for sure. You know,
for real.
So like Buffalo this whole year, like we had like coming into the season, you had Buffalo as a playoff team, right? To start the year.
Oh yeah,
I think
I had
everybody
them winning
did.
the division. Yeah.
Right. So it's like, you know, they kind of shocked everybody this year with their their mediocrity. So they're getting back to the Buffalo Bills we're accustomed to seeing, you know, and what we predicted in the beginning of this year. So it's good for Buffalo. I think the Buffalo Bills are back on track, and like you said, Ryan, this is a team that you don't want to face right now. They're getting hot at the right time, and I think that's what matters in the NFL. Getting hot at the right time.
I would agree. I would also say, just so everybody listening knows, that Josh Allen only threw the ball 15 times. He didn't even pass
yards.
over. He didn't even pass for 100 yards, like you mentioned.
Crazy.
The ground game, James Cook especially, he averaged over 7 yards a carry. So they just dominated everything on in that game. They just dominated it. And like you mentioned, on the other side of the ball, the Cowboys, man, it was tough for them. It was really tough for them, because even trailing the entire game, Dak Prescott only threw for 134 yards, and you could tell like they could not move the ball very well.
No, they couldn't.
Against the Bills, and the Bills dominated this game. But I guess the question becomes, though, then Isaac, is like, so we know the Bills were desperate. We saw what the Cowboys did the last couple of weeks, including against good teams like Philadelphia, or a good team like Philadelphia. You said they're frauds. So do you think they're frauds, or do you just think like it's what we kind of talked about at the top, which is there's no really, and instead of maybe like the 49ers and maybe Baltimore, there's just no other, like any team could win any Sunday.
Right.
Is that what we're kind of seeing?
Yeah. As far as Dallas goes, I'm going to answer that question: are they frauds or not? What's going on? Ivan, how you doing this morning? And Machi also said before I touch base on this, he said the Bills have the largest win margin, but they also have the smallest loss margin. That's good. That's a good
Ah,
point by what Machi just said right there. Um,
yeah.
but he said, "What's good, Lemon?" And what's good, bro? Hope you're doing really good this morning, bro. If you have any questions, just drop them in. We'll get to them. But back
Or
to what else?
comments.
Yeah, or
Yeah, if
comments,
you want
anything.
to contribute, yeah.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
absolutely. But back to Dallas. If they didn't lose by this big of a margin to Buffalo, no, Buffalo's a 7-16. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Uh, if they just lost like by a field goal or overtime, I wouldn't go that far as like they're frauds. I mean, anybody can lose anytime, but the margin that they lost by after they just crushed Philly, it's just a lot. That's just a lot of inconsistency from me that I'm seeing right there in this short span. You
Yeah.
know, and especially at the end of this year, you can't lose these types of games. Not by
Oh,
this
agreed.
much. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So that's why I say frauds, because now it's like, okay, bro, you can't be losing like that. You know, not right before the playoffs. So like I said, if it was a close game and it was a nail biter, I wouldn't go that far. I'd be like, hey, they took a L. I mean, it's gonna happen. But they got dominated on both sides of the ball. You know. So but Dallas got
Yeah.
exposed.
Yeah.
And you can't be getting
Yeah.
exposed.
Yeah, yeah, it could. Yeah, I want to like be fair. It might be a 1 week thing. They might have just had the wrong matchup. They had a big win last week in division rival. Like, but it doesn't look great for the Cowboys after that. And like we talked last week about them, and we thought they were doing better. But I've always come to the conclusion like they still have Mike McCarthy. Mike McCarthy is their coach. I just don't trust them, and this week gives me kind of validation for not trusting them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with you on that. Drippy said my message has to be checked by a mod. I'm looking, bro. I didn't get any message through. So that um but Ivan also said Cook was doing good last game, and he said, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Cooks was awesome. And like, yeah, it's just that's what Josh Allen has needed the last couple of years for in my opinion. It's just
Right.
he needed a good run game. He needed something to complement him because he was doing all the work, and it looks like the Bills have found a really good running back
Yep.
and a solid run game that might be what they need to get over the top. And again, no team in the AFC is going to want to play them. That's for sure. He, yeah, I don't know if he's Diggs washed, drippy Diggs washed. That's great. Like, is he relevant? Well, I think maybe. I think he is. I just guess he's not having a great year. That's for sure, though. I mean, he's over 1,000 yards. Like, if you're a defense, he has 8 touchdowns. He's on his way for what, like 13, possibly like 13 and 10, 13 and 11, like 1,300 yards and 11 touchdowns, maybe 105, 110 receptions. So I think he's fine, but defense he's still good. I think that defenses just get to pay more attention to him because of the receiving core around him as well. Like I just don't like I don't know, like any of the other receivers scare you on that team. So he gets more attention. Maybe he lost a little bit of his step, and because of that, he's not looking as good. But like if you look at the other receivers, Gabe Davis got, 500, 600 yards. But I think that Diggs, you still have to plan for Diggs, right? You still have to game plan for him.
Continue.
Yeah. What do you think, Isaac? What do you think about Diggs right now?
I think he's doing good now.
Oh,
Oh, you're talking about Stephon Diggs.
yeah, Stefan Diggs. Yep.
Gotcha. I don't know. I think he complains too much, but I don't think he wants to be in Buffalo, and he didn't want to be in Buffalo since the beginning of the offseason. He was having problems with Buffalo and everything like that, but um, I don't know. I feel like if they start winning and and they make a good run in the playoffs, it'll be good. But I'm hearing myself. I don't like that.
That was me. Continue. Yeah, so the offseason stuff, wasn't that partly the offensive coordinator?
Right. Yeah, I mean, 4 receptions, 48 yards. I mean, he's doing what he can. He's not doing what he used to do. He wasn't that threat like he was, like he was in Minnesota and before when he first got in Buffalo. But I don't know. I honestly, I just think the reason being is like I said in the beginning of the offseason, he's already had trouble with Buffalo. Buffalo didn't really take that next step in the offseason to get better, and
Correct,
I think that's what he was upset about. But I mean, I still feel like he's a threat in my opinion when it comes to playoff time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you can't just like not, have a game plan just for Diggs if you're the opposing team. You like he's still an X factor. So. I wouldn't disrespect him too much. I wouldn't say he's washed, but I don't know.
Yeah, he has already got over 1,000 yards. I don't know, like, he's the only wide receiver really on that team. So teams can game plan for him more. That's my thought and like as a Dolphin fan, you just got to know you can't leave that. You can't underestimate that guy. So I guess I'm not going to say he's washed yet. We'll wait till we beat them handily before we say something like that. Anything else on the Dallas Cowboys getting humbled by the Bills, or we want to move on to the next headline?
Yeah, I think we covered everything about this game.
Unless
people still got more questions and comments about the game, just keep sending them in. We'll answer them.
Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.